What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So it's been a couple days since the Team Rocket lineups have changed in Pokemon Go. Today we're gonna go through every single different type of grunt and what rewards you can get. Let's get into it. Huge shout out to the people at Sylph Road who do all this research and all this testing and compile this into beautiful little graphics here. This website will be linked below. We're gonna start with the electric grunt. So the new electric grunt now has this lineup. Just for reference during the video, if you see a Pokeball icon beside a Pokemon in a lineup, that means that Pokemon is catchable. So for example here, all of these Pokemon can be caught. So the electric grunt now has Mareep or Voltorb in the first slot, Flaffy, Electrode, or Voltorb in the second slot, and Ampharos, Electrode, or Electabuzz in the third slot. In terms of relevant ones here, honestly, nothing is too great. You can use Electrode in some Kanto Cup metas and Love Cup metas, and the Shadow Ampharos, I guess, is not bad in the Ultra League, but nothing insane. Now let's move on to the Bug Grunt. Now this actually has some good ones in here. First of all, we have Shadow Weedle and Shadow Beedrill. Shadow Beedrill, pretty good Great League Pokemon. You're gonna have to get its Community Day move, but it's actually pretty strong. Also, Shadow Skorupi, the best encounter from the Bug Grunt right now, gets you Shadow Drapion, a very strong safe swap for the Great and the Ultra League. Now we got the Wherever There Is Light, there's also Shadow Grunt. This is the Dark Grunt. We're gonna have Shadow Skunky and Alolan Rattata in the first slot, Shadow Skuntank, Alolan Raticate in the second slot, and then the third slot are gonna be these Pokemon. In terms of catchable ones here, Skunky and Skuntank, both in the Shadow form, pretty good for the Great and the Ultra League. Not insanely a meta, but it does see some use. And the Alolan Rattata, I guess, is good because you have a chance of getting an XL Rattata for the Rat Badge, but honestly, you don't really want these new Alolan ones. We got the You're Gonna Be Frozen in Your Tracks Grunt, the Ice Grunt. Now this is actually a pretty good grunt right now. We have a Alolan Sandshrew and a Swinub in the first slot, Snover, Alolan Sandslash, and Snorunt in the second slot, and Cloyster, Lapras, and Abomasnow in the third slot. In terms of catchable ones, only the Alolan Sandshrew and the Swinub are catchable. Alolan Sandshrew, of course, with the recent Community Day, is a pretty good one to get. You're gonna have to wait till the end of year if you want to get Shadow Claw on Alolan Sandslash during the December Community Day, but still not a bad one to grab. Just make sure you TM it before the end of the event. We also have Swinub, which honestly at first we thought was gone, but it is still there, so you can still get Shadow Swinub and Shadow Mamoswine. Shadow Mamoswine is one of the best ice and ground type raid attackers in the game. The Fairy Grunt is check out my cute Pokemon. We have the Snubbull and the Ralts as two of the encounterable Pokemon. Shadow Granbull, pretty spicy for the Great and the Ultra League, but you know, those charms do so much damage, it can be pretty strong. And then obviously Shadow Ralts into Shadow Gardevoir. Shadow Gardevoir, one of the best fairy type raid attackers in the game. We have this buff physique, isn't just for show, the Fighting Grunt. We have the return of Shadow Machop. This is one you're gonna wanna go hard for during the Team Rocket event. We also have Shadow Makuhita in there, but the Machop is more preferred. Shadow Machamp, the best fighting type raid attacker in the game and good in all three of the leagues. Do you know how hot Fire Breath can get? This is the Fire Grunt. A lot of encounters in here. We have Charmander, Cyndaquil, and Numel in the first, and Camerupt and Quilava in the second. Charmander, of course, evolving into Shadow Charizard, a pretty good fire type raid attacker and decent in the Ultra League. And then same goes with the Cyndaquil into the Shadow Typhlosion, good in the Ultra League and as a fire type raid attacker. The new Shadow Numel and Shadow Camerupt, honestly not great. You can keep it in case of a move update in the future, but most likely I recommend actually purifying the Numels if it's going to become a Hundo, because Camerupt does have a Mega in the future, so you can have a Hundo ready for that. Battle against my flying type Pokemon, the Flying Grunt. We have the Murkrow Starly Zubat in the first slot. Murkrow into Shadow Honchkrow is a decent flying type raid attacker. Honestly, probably not worth the investment, but it is still pretty strong. Shadow Starly is one of those 1,000 Stardust Purify Pokemon, so not a bad one to get and purify for the badge. And then same with the Zubat, it's good for the purification badge because it's only 1,000 Stardust, but also Shadow Golbat is pretty good in the Great League. Key Grunt is the Ghost Grunt, and we have Mischievous and Sableye. Sableye is the only one you want to go for here. Sableye Purified, you actually have to purify it so you get the exclusive Purified move Return, is a very strong Pokemon for the Great League. Normal does not mean weak. Bidoof, Rattata in the first slot, and Bibarel, Raticate, and Loudred in the second slot. So a lot of possible catches here. The only reason I would do this grunt is because all of these encounters are only 1,000 Stardust to purify for the Purifier badge. Shadow Loudred, Shadow Raticate, Shadow Bibarel, and all their evolutions, only 1,000 Stardust. That's the only reason I would actually battle that grunt. These waters are treacherous, the female version of the water grunt, because there is a male and a female version of this grunt. We have Shadow Mudkip, Shadow Totodile, and Shadow Marshrum, Shadow Crocodile. Mudkip, of course, Community Day coming up. You're going to want to get good Shadow Mudkips and remove frustration so you can evolve them during the upcoming Community Day this weekend and get Hydro Cannon on them. A very good Pokemon to go after. Shadow Swampert, good in all three leagues and as a water type raid attacker. The Shadow Totodile into the Shadow Feraligatr is a decent water type raid attacker, but that's kind of where it ends for him. Coiled and Ready to Strike is the Poison Grunt. In here, honestly, nothing insane to get. Shadow Wheezing is back. Yeah, I believe Shadow Coughing hasn't been a reward in a while. I think it was only a Jesse and James encounter, so that's a cool one, but not very useful. And then the Shadow Zubat, of course, for the Golbat. We already talked about this, and it's 1,000 dust to purify, but these Nidoran males, not very useful. You'll be defeated into the ground is the ground grunt. You have the Hippotas as an encounter. I believe it's the only encounter we know of so far. You most likely will be able to get Numel as well here. Maybe this just hasn't been updated, but Hippotas and Numel, again, not very good either. Are you scared of these psychics that use unseen powers, the psychic grunt? We have Giraffrig and Ralt. Shadow Giraffrig, not very good at all. You can kind of avoid this one. Giraffrig's never been good. Maybe with the move update, but not right now. And then Shadow Ralt, we already talked about this one, very good. It's unfortunate they removed Shadow Matang from the grunts here, so that's kind of sucky. Let's rock and roll grunt. We have Sudowoodo, Shuckle in the first slot, Anorith, Lileep, and Larvitar in the second slot. So Larvitar is still there. That's super good to see. Shadow Sudowoodo, maybe a spice pick for the Johto Cup, but honestly one you can kind of avoid, don't have to TM. Same goes with Shadow Shuckle, not very good at all. Shadow Anorith and Lileep, again, not very good. Maybe the Shadow Lileep, because Shadow Credilli can have some play in some limited Great League metas, but really the Shadow Larvitar is the one you should be looking out for. It most likely will be a rare Pokemon because it's in the second slot as the third encounter, so you probably won't get it very often. But Shadow Tyranitar, very good Dark and Rock type raid attacker. Don't tangle with us. The Grass Grunt can get you Shadow Cacnea, Shadow Chikorita, or Shadow Cacturne. And the only one here that is good is Shadow Chikorita into Shadow Meganium, a decent Pokemon for the Great and the Ultra League, but I believe the regular form is going to be better. We have the Don't Bother I've already won, get ready to be defeated, or winning is for winners. I call this the Elite Grunt, aka the Typeless Grunt, and it always gives you Shadow Snorlax now. So Shadow Snorlax, a very good Pokemon to grab, good for the Ultra and the Master League, I would say most likely. So yeah, if you see this grunt, definitely do it because Shadow Snorlax, one of the rarest shadows there is. The male version of these waters are treacherous is the Magikarp grunt, and always has been. This one never changes. Shadow Gyarados, pretty good for the Ultra League and the Master League, and you can even use it as a water type raid attacker, but it's not amazing. Finally, Roar, how does that sound? The rarest grunt there is the Dragon Grunt, is guaranteed to get you a Shadow Dratini. It'd be cool if we saw like Shadow Bagon get introduced into this grunt, but no, we still have Shadow Dratini, but still good. Shadow Dragonite, a good Master League Pokemon, Ultra League Pokemon, and one of the best Dragon type raid attackers in the game. Now quickly before we end, we do have the leaders, Giovanni and the Decoy grunt. We'll go through quick. We have Sierra, which of course Sierra's guaranteed encounter is going to be Shadow Drowsy, which can be Shadow Shiny Drowsy. Now Shadow Hypno, a pretty good Great League Pokemon, so not a bad one to go for Sierra. We have Arlo, who has the Shadow Execute now, and it can be Shiny Shadow Execute. Shadow Executor is not amazing all around. You can use it maybe as like a spikes pick because Confusion can do a lot of damage, but honestly I wouldn't really go for Arlo unless you want that shiny. And then same goes with leader Cliff. We have Shadow Cubone, which can be Shiny Shadow Cubone. Shadow Marowak is not very good. We also have the Decoy Grunt, which if you don't know, when you have the Black Rocket Radar equipped and you're looking for Giovanni at Pokestops, if it's not Giovanni, it's going to be a Decoy Grunt, and Decoy Grunts are guaranteed to give you either Shadow Bellsprout, Shadow Raticate, or Shadow Weeping Bell. This is actually the only way to get Shadow Bellsprout. Shadow Victory Bell is actually a decent Great League Pokemon, so what you can do is you can hold onto your Black Rocket Radar and keep battling these Decoy Grunts and farm up these Shadow Bellsprouts to try to get yourself a good IV one. Finally, of course, Giovanni does have Shadow Latias. I briefly went through it in my tips video, in which if Shadow Latias is good or not. Honestly, not a great Shadow at all. You can use it in some of the Master Leagues and stuff like that as spikes picks, but its moveset's not great, stats not great comparing to other legendaries, and also as a raid attacker, it's just outclassed by so many other dragons. Not one of the top tier dragons, and I don't think it's worth the expensive investment. So I would just hold on to my Black Rocket Radar, wait until Giovanni's lineup switches to something better. It most likely will be like 6 months down the line, but still, in my opinion, better than catching the Shadow Latias right now. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole new lineups. If anything does change here, any new Pokemon get added, because it is still only like 3 days in, so some things could get added. I will let you guys know in the pinned comments below, but that is it. Let me know what Shadow Pokemon you're going to be hunting during this upcoming event. We have some very good ones in there, and really the only big loss we took was Shadow Matang not being available anymore. Of course, Shadow Bagon is gone, but we still have some very good Shadows in here. Shadow Mudkip, Shadow Sableye, Shadow Larvitar, Shadow Machop, Shadow Swinub. There's a lot of good stuff to go after, so be sure to do it. And remember, remove frustration before April 7th. TMing away frustration ends on April 7th, so make sure you remove it before, or else you're gonna have to wait for another Team Rocket event, and you're gonna be stuck not able to use your Shadow Pokemon because they're gonna still know the move frustration. That's it, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Have an amazing rest of your day, and follow for this one. Peace.